In this video, I'm going to go over some of the features of Git that I mentioned or didn't cover in the last video. And if you haven't seen my last video on Git, I recommend you watch it, but you don't have to see it to be caught up. So I'll go ahead and open the terminal and go to my example repository, which is just a Git repository that I pre-populated with a few commits. And first I want to show tags in Git. Now tagging in Git is actually very simple and very straightforward. So if you run the git tag command by itself, by default it'll print out all the tags in your repository, and since we don't have any tags right now, it's not going to print out anything. So let's add one. So to actually add a tag, you run git tag and then the name of the tag. So I'll call this 1.0. This is 1.0 of our software. And so now when we check our log, you'll see that our most recent commit is tagged 1.0. Now by default, Git will actually tag your most recent commit, as you can see. But you can actually specify previous commits to tag as well. So if I just say git tag, and let's just say I want to tag my first commit right here. I'll tag this init because it's the initial commit. And then if we copy the commit ID right here, and then run that, and then look at our log again, you'll see that our initial commit is tagged init. And really, this is kind of the extent of what tagging can do. There's not much more beyond this. And I mean, that's really all you need from tagging, just be able to tag commits. But this is very useful though for tagging very important or major commits, or also versions or releases. So that's tagging. Next I want to move to probably the bread and butter of Git, and that is branching and merging. Now, branching, if you run git branch by itself, it'll print out, just like git tag, all the current branches that you have in your repository, which by default, when you make a new Git repository, you only have one branch, and it's the master branch. So let's go ahead and actually make a new branch. So I'm going to call this branch main.c. And you'll see why I'm calling it that in a moment. But so now if we run git branch, you'll see that we now have our two branches. And so to actually switch over to our main.c branch, we can just run git checkout and then main.c. And we switched. So now if we run git branch again, you'll see we're at the main.c branch. So in this branch, I'm going to add a main.c file. And this is just going to be a very simple C program. Nothing crazy at all. And this program is literally just going to print hello world. Like I said, nothing crazy. Okay, there we go. And so now we have our main.c file. Let's go ahead and add that and then commit the changes. And the commit message will be add main.c. So now we have our extra commit on our main.c branch, which is ahead of our master branch. So what if I want to take the changes from my main.c branch and put it into my master branch? Well, Git actually has a command just for that. And this is probably one of the most important commands in Git, and that is merge. So to actually merge, we need to go back to our master branch. So I'll say git checkout master. There we go. And to actually merge our changes, we can say git merge. And now we want to specify the branch we want to merge into our master branch. And I'll just say main.c. And as you can see, we went ahead and merged the changes. So if we look at our log, you'll see that all of our changes are merged. And one thing you might notice is that our remote origin repository is actually out of date, or it's behind. And I actually have it's actually this GitHub repository from the last video. I changed things around a bit, but it's mostly the same. So let's actually push our changes, all of our changes, to this remote repo. So go ahead and run git push and refresh the page. And so now we have our commits up to date, but you might notice that our tags and our extra branch, they're not there for some reason. And the reason this is actually the case is by default, Git will not actually push tags and branches. You have to push those manually. So let's go ahead and do that. So if you can run git push and the -u option, we want to push to origin, which is our remote repository, and we want to push our main.c branch. And we went ahead and push that. And next we want to specify our tags. So I'm going to push my 1.0 tag and my init tag. So now if we refresh the page, you'll see that we now have 2 branches and 2 tags. And everything is as it should be, so good. Now I want to talk about one last thing, and that is merge conflicts. And for some reason, merge conflicts scare newcomers for some reason, but they're not actually that difficult. They're very easy to work with. So I'm going to actually create a merge conflict to show you, how it all works. So I'm going to switch over to the main.c branch, and I'm going to add a line right here to the script.sh file, and I'll just echo merge conflict, lowercase, merge conflict question mark. There we go, and I'll go ahead and add that, and then commit the changes. And I guess the commit message will be add merge conflict line. There we go. And so now we want to go back to our master branch, and let's go ahead and add something on the same exact line. So I'll just say merge conflict, all caps with a lot of exclamation points. So merge conflict. So let's add that and commit those changes. There we go. There we go. So now we have 2 different branches. One that actually change the same line of the same file. Now Git is actually very smart when it comes to merging things, especially in the same file. But if you change something, if you change the same line on the same file, that's going to cause a conflict. And when that's eventually merged, we're going to have to resolve that on our own. So let's go ahead and actually run git merge, and let's merge our main.c file. And as you can see, it'll auto merge it, and conflict. And so to actually resolve the conflict, we have to go into the file manually, and it'll actually annotate where the conflict is, and we can decide what we want to keep, what we want to add, and just what we want to do with this conflict, with the conflict itself. So in my case, I'll just go ahead and keep merge conflict with a question mark. So I'm going to keep that. And now we write the file and run git add, and we add our conflicted file. And now when we go ahead and run git commit, you'll see that our commit message is actually pre-populated with merge branch main.c. And so if we actually go ahead and commit that, you'll see that our changes have been merged, and all of our previous Git commits have been merged as well. So that's merging, branching, tagging, and all the other stuff about Git. Like I said, merging and branching, probably the bread and butter of Git. But yeah, that's Git. I hope you guys find this useful.